promise you that you'll never meet another person as mentally tough as you in your entire life. And he hasn't, and he never will.
Girl got sad, time, and a night. If the beat's alright, you get it. Still sending a message. Tempted, look. I still got packs to the side. I just take my time. I still write rhymes in the night. If the beat's alright, you get it. I'm still sending a message. I might buy J's, I'm tempted not to wear them.
Good evening. We are the next generation,
the Mangrove 9.
and tonight we have some special guests on the show, big UK legends. And if you don't know, you don't know. And we're going to start off by allowing them to introduce themselves. I'm going to start off with the man himself, Simba. So Simba, would you like to tell us a bit about yourself?
Well, I started at the top and I've been pambling ever since. I do artist development. Got a little label called Trailblazers, and coincide with Roots Maneuvers label called Banana Clan. And then we take young people's music and make it trend. And I'm known for crossing over, doing a crossover from the ghetto into the mainstream. And I don't know how to explain, really. Somebody who come from the same era as Dolby D, and just been involved in hip hop and had a liking to it for a very long time. And it brought me out my shell a bit. Brought me out my shell, made me meet a lot of people. First roadman rap, yeah. So I don't know. That's my history. I'll tell you as we go down the line.
Okay, thank you for that. We will go into more detail in that after. And next up we have Dolby D, the man himself. So Dolby, would you like to tell the viewers a bit about yourself?
I am the boy fresh, Dolby D, the original b-boy of London town. General Only Wonder Dolby, Sif Slayer, Dolby Montana. All I got in this world is my moves and my style, and I don't get burnt for nobody. AKA the Mercadon. It all happened one day when I murked a Don. Been into hip hop since 1980, 81, because I used to live in New York at the time, but I wasn't into breaking or anything. I was just living there, so that was the music. As I came back to London again, I was still into it, and it was just kind of forming then from early days of like Pac Jam and Johnson Crew and those sort of things, Curtis Blow, Treacherous 3, those sort of rap groups that I listened to. And then the breaking thing, I was actually, not too many people know this, but I was actually rapping before I was breaking. But then I just put it aside to deal with the breaking because I felt it was a young thing and it needed to be done then because I was young as such. And I felt also I needed to gain more experiences in life with regards to having something to rap about. But I still kept abreast of what was going on and who was doing what and whatnot, but I didn't really come out as an MC. I was just more trying to establish myself as a great breaker. I popped and I locked and stuff. I wasn't into any other real dances then, maybe a bit of skanking, but not really. But with regard to the breaking, I just really wanted to try to be really good at it and be the best at it and try to find other breakers and do battle with them and see be what I can be really with the breaking as such. I also liked it because to me it's the physical manifestation of hip hop. It is the dance of hip hop. Yes, there's popping and there's locking, but they come before breaking. They go back to like 60s, 70s, and they're more like funk styles as such. But breaking is the only really true sort of hip hop dance. And to me, breaking borrows from any bodily movement, anything really that you can do, from just simply dancing, standing up, to spinning on your head, to somersaulting. And it's something I wanted to do to develop my body. And I felt it was akin to being a superhero. as such. Like it was like a hood superhero. You'd hear about this guy, he can spin on his head round the way. You're like, no, there's no way. And then you see it live and direct, and you're like, oh, and it's that type of amazing type of dance as such. And I don't think there'll be another dance quite like it, because breaking borrows from so much now. It's kind of like, well, what else can be done as such? I mean, other stuff have come up like crump, say for instance, but it's not the same as breaking. Do you know what I mean? Breaking is the hood superhero dance, and I wanted to be a hood superhero. So yeah.
Now you're Dolby D superhero.
I just tried to be all I could be with the breaking. So I got into my first crew Sidewalk by having a battle at Electric Ballroom, which was the dancers club back in those days. There was loads of clubs and stuff, but Electric Ballroom was really known for the dance club. And I shopped out there on my first time actually going to a big club. And then I got asked to join Sidewalk. And then the next day I was down Covent Garden busking. Oh, sorry, that's another name that I need to say. I'm the king of the cobbles. Yeah. The cobbles being Covent Garden. Yeah.
You like that one, innit, D?
I do. I like that one. I didn't make that one up. Yeah, but I love it.
I hear you.
And then I left again to go live in New York, and I was pursuing the breaking thing there as well. Hooked up with one breaker from there who I had a battle with to actually be able to hang out with him. And he was like the top breaker in Brooklyn and one of the best in New York at the time. His name is Powerful Green. I always like to give him a big shout out because he showed me a lot of things in life, not just with breaking and that, but he was also a god. And he wanted to split up and that, so I wanted to form a new crew, which is mainly breakers, because in Sidewalk, I was the only breaker, really. The others braked a little bit, but really I was the main breaker. I wanted to form an all-breaking crew, more or less. And so I formed London All-Stars. Tried to make it a crew where I wanted to recruit the best in London. And we was the first crew to bring back an international medal for this breakdancing thing at one of the first World Championships held in New York City at the Roxy, and it was a Swatch World Breakdancing competition. And we brought back an international medal, the first time ever done. Yeah, I think that's enough for me right now.
Okay, thank you for that. That's a good breakdown of your summary. I'm sure we'll touch on that again. So now I'm going to move over to Gian. So Gian, would you like to say a bit about yourself?
Yeah. Greetings, everybody. I'm Gian Carlos, Morocco, aka Early Daze from 1159 and NSL Force. I was at Holland Park School. Through various connections, especially Dizzy Heights. You know who I'm talking about when I say Dizzy Heights.
Of course we do. The main man himself. The main man himself.
So basically, when I was like 15, 16, so I was going to like the language lab, and I was going to Titanic, and I was going to Rap Attack, and basically, I used to go around to Dizzy's like at the weekend. Because I used to chat. I was a bit of a mini Dominic. So yeah, I was into sounds, and like the people around me were all into sound. We used to have those sound cassettes. I knew every single lyric of every sound as well. Coxswain, Saxon, you know, Young Lion, all those people. I was into that. Those British MCs from the 80s, you know, that's what I'm talking about. I was like really into that, and then Dizzy and gave me a kind of break. Like he told me to go around to Edgware Road. He said, you got to get around to Edgware Road to Bluebird Records. They're looking for someone. They're looking for a white rapper. So I went there and he played me this track, and it was with Wizkid DJing and with Mastermind producing it.
Okay.
But the verse had already been written, and I really didn't like it. I mean, it was bad.
Yeah. So
I left, and I went back. I saw Dizzy, and he said, "Well, so what happened?" And I said, "Yeah, I like, you know what I mean." He said, "Are you stupid?" Like, so I went back anyway. So I ended up doing the thing, and then from there, hooking up with crew like Nutriment. They were older than me. There were people that were older than me at school. Well, Nutriment wasn't at my school, but Kurt was at my school, and Sasha Bolin, all those guys. And they were like older brother kind of people to me. They, you know, it was like that. So from Language Lab and whatever, I just started MCing. Then I hooked up with Daniel X, who became the kind of partner in 1159. He was like the business thing and I was more the creative thing. And then we hooked up with NSO Force and
Melody and them.
Melody and Ola and Ashaba.
Yeah, Ola.
So we had a kind of crossover reggae hip hop thing where we had live music, we had horn section, we had a drummer, we had bass guitar, we had a DJ, MPC, and all that kind of vibe. So yeah, that was the story up to there. That was 1159 and NSO Force. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that.
Thank you, Jen.
And now we're going to move over to the troublesome man himself. Where is he? Mr. James.
Yo.
From Powerlords in the house.
Yo, Yinks, I swear to God, tell you, it's really funny that everybody really knows me. But you know what, like today is going to be one of my first kind of like real get to know the inside of me as a person. And my name is James. Yeah. I've got the rap names, you know, Magnum, JD Dog, Headmaster, whatever it may be, Powerlords. But my name is James and I like James. But yeah, my history is kind of like intertwined with all the previous speakers. I remember Dolby. I remember going to Bolton-Gordan and seeing him do windmills and shit live on cobbles. I was going to Hammersmith College and I was rolling with a guy called Benny. Benny was this weird looking guy from Bolton-Gordan. He was a real good jazz funk dancer. But Dolby and them guys, he was our idol when we were youths. Anyway, Simba, big up. And also Gian Carlos, big up as well. Everything you lot said is facts there. Facts. I remember going Language Lab and watching Nutriment and all those guys getting inspired by the whole flex. But coming from Missing Green Estate, Northwest 8, West London, we got into this hip hop thing very early in the 80s through rappers like Curtis Blow, the usual lot, and my brother Paul and Edmund, as you lot might know, that makes it three of us, the Powerlords. Yep. We just went on this little kind of quest to like do this hip hop thing from very early 80s. By 82, 83, we were writing. We were in secondary school, I remember. We'd do our homework and we would write lyrics to beats, electro beats. There wasn't a hip hop per se, it was like electro, like Tour de France and Kraftwerk and Pump That Bass, Mantronics, it was all that kind of stuff. So we were writing and creating something that we would hope would be accepted, because I think the UK hip hop was really under struggles compared to the American hip hop at that time. I was on the side of the fence as an artist. I was a supporter of hip hop and a fan, but I was also an artist and competitive. I was fed up of going back to the drawing board as a youth. You see all these different rappers from America come with their big videos, their big beats, and you just keep going back to the drawing board. So we just created an attitude that, you know what, suck it. We're gonna come with some big beats as well, created a powerful name. And then, I don't know, my life, it just went from 16-year-old to 25-year-old, and most of the stuff I could hardly remember. It was just a magnificent journey and adventure of hip hop, performing, rehearsing, studios, sign up here, sign up there. I swear to God, I can't remember every single thing, but I remember everything, if you get what I'm trying to say. I can't remember the order of stuff, because performing twice a week for like 3-4 years, it takes a toll on your mind, you understand? You're just on stage, doing what you're doing. But by 1989, 1990, we get signed to Virgin Records. That was one moment I remember walking into Harrow Road Virgin Studios and with my brothers. And Ron Tom, Ron, he was our management. I believe he might be a few of you guys.
It was my management, my manager, and Johnny's and Syndicates.
That's right. Salute to Ron Tom.
Ron Tom, big up.
Big up Ron Tom. You know, he Syndicate, that's right. He helped out a lot of people from his heart, you know what I mean? And he got us on Virgin. And we didn't really care about all of that, because we knew that Virgin would want to make us some bubblegum kind of whatever. They looked at us and thought, maybe we can turn these guys. But I'm sure by that time, all you lot would know that, nah, them guys would never become bubblegum pop. So we lasted on there for a year or two, and they get Public Enemy, NWA type of guys. And we took our money. There was no bad vibes, but we were happy. But unfortunately, street life catches up with you. We started out in 82. By 92, 10-year run, ending up on Virgin. We all kind of went our separate ways. My brother Paul went into the gospel rap. He went into more sound system stuff where he was originally as a youngster. Edmund was a sound system guy. And he was the one that used to go and see Gian Carlos and all you lot, Nutriment, down by Royal Oak Station down there. He was happening all around the back there. What Gian Carlos was saying is 100% fact. So I remember I used to want to try and get to those ones, but I was a bit too young. But yeah, we could get to the Common Gardens. That was straight for Skool, go and see Dolby and them lot down there, and a few of the Kilburn boys. There was a Kilburn breaking crew as well.
Yeah, Ozzy's crew.
Was it Ozzy? And
Yeah.
these boys up in Kilburn, yeah, they had a little crew of good breakers, you know, but they weren't, I mean, I think Dolby was with Steve Poe and you guys used to really hold up the crown for the UK. I remember that mid-80s, in between early 80s to mid-80s, Dolby, C-Po, and I think we started to put on some shows in the Cockpit Theatre, and that's when we started to link up with Yinka. I'll tell you something, you lot. I don't know how old she was when she started, but this woman, Yinka, has been around for as long as I can remember. Yinka, salute, sis.
Thank you,
big
Dad.
salute.
Making
Big
me sound
salute.
old, but yeah, thank you. I'm trying.
It's so remarkable. I remember.
We used to have fun though. We used to have one thing I can say is with Powerlords, you always had fun if you were ever on the show or anything with them. It was kind of
Modern day life, the Powerlords came fizzled out 92, 93. I'm not gonna lie, we keep it real. I was in jail for about a year or so. You understand? Getting caught up in that whole NWA pantomime myth. They got us all going crazy around that time. Dre, you know what happened around that time. Music turned, the hip hop turned from that whole unity to whole gangster-D. You know what I'm saying? Unity to gangster-D. And it was one of those ones where we're in it. I know you get people, divert, you can divert your lives. Hell no, you can't. You know how it was back then, and we were the youth of that day. So it sounds crazy, but it was like, be it or be it, you know what I'm saying? You gotta stand your ground, you know? So it went into more darker life for the 90s, straight up to the 2000s. I don't need to explain to everybody, we all know how it goes. Yeah, life turned mad, and the music was associated with it as well. Don't really like to speak about it. We all know what the story is. So by 2000, I'd done with the game. I'm not gonna lie, the music had changed, grime was picking up, so forth. I still love, you know, creating my mind or create at studios, but I was not in love with the system of making the money and such that. I don't care. Robinson on the island by myself, I make my beats. I don't care. It changed from like, you know, being great artists or great writers or great performers to having the greatest shine for the most guns or the most, I like sod all of that. And that's what it became, and I wasn't impressed with that. So I just moved on. I was working with Shadow Cabinet, and now I work with Buddhist Sector. We just do artist management, creative hip hop. That is our ideology, the craft. It's not about the street and how quick, I mean, come and make some music, ingenuity. That's what I do with the record label, Buddhist Sector Productions. And I still write my bits, still do some bits, you know what I'm saying? Like, but basically that's it for me. I'm loving today's music. I'm not one of those that, you know, bangs on that, this new stuff is shit and all that. No, it isn't. Got a lot of creative, good music. Same way we had a lot of creative, good music back then. There's a craft and a style to all that these young kids are doing. It's up to you whether you try and pick up on what is real in it and what is not real. We were picked apart. Yeah, they're cool here. It's the same thing now, but music is music. But yeah, you know, that's it. Powerlords restored everything, and for life, you know what I'm saying? Golden era, salute.
Salute to the Powerlords. So big up to Edmonds and Paul.
Thank you for representing.
And Jamila. So we're going to take it in. So we're going to do a kind of opening up now, and Jamila's just going to go for anyone she wants. So Jamila, do you want to take them to the first question?
Okay, so what we like to do is kind of do, how do I describe it? A cradle to grave, if that makes sense. So it's kind of, you know, what you did before you got into hip hop. Most of us were young anyway, so usually school age. But so when did you actually get into hip hop, or when did you start? What ages were you? And was it through school ages, or, you know, because schooling is a big problem in this country at the moment, and you know, we kind of, because we're creative, we look for the creative exit
Escapism.
out of school, and the madness that they're trying to teach us or not teach us. As your schooling affects you, and did you start while you were at school? And I'll start with Sim.
Well, where do I start? Stop that kid. A boy just ran past me. He had stole this woman's handbag from a cab office. We were on our way to a rap attack dance. It was my first time raving. I was only 14. Nah, most stuff back then from Covent Garden with hip hoppers and the break dancing. But back then, I think we were at a boarding school then, because I come from a children's home. So I come from Oxford Gardens children's home, and then I don't know, our mum lost custody of me and my brother, and we went into custody of the care, and we went to a boarding school, and our dad had to pay money for that as well. And then we used to come home every weekend, but every time we came home, you know, our dad would finish work about 10 o'clock at night. 11, we try to make sure we always got back before he got there, but we'll find ourselves down West End, because we were in a children's home, or we know people who you grew up with, and you're gonna know them for years and years. We used to go and meet them. I don't know, this big punch bag or something. And then we used to punch tubes and stuff like that. And them time, I think the bus was 20 pence. 20 pence, you could go anywhere.
Remember those times?
49.
Yeah.
Swinging on or jumping on the buses and jumping off. And
Yeah,
everyone
yeah.
left.
Oh yeah, Holland Park 12 and all that. Yeah.
Red Bus Rover.
Yeah.
I've got an older brother called Samson, and him being old, I just used to follow him everywhere. You understand? And you know, he just used to be, I don't know, Dolby will tell you a story about him, or the others will tell you a story about him. You should get him on the show. But he get us into trouble and stuff, and music was kind of like an escape route. You know, you remember you used to have a tape recorder and it had the record button.
God forbid you take. God forbid the tape, the real snap, man, because that was it, man. Get your sellotape out, mend it together.
Do your pirate recording nights, doing all the tunes that you shouldn't be taking and recording them. Those were the days.
One of my plastic tapes has gone missing.
Or when it used to get stuck, when your tape used to get stuck in the tape machine, and then you try and take it out, and
you got a reel.
You messed up my good mixtape that I had from somewhere.
And then you have to get the
stick
big
it back together.
And then you have to have the big pen to twist it all back in again.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Unroll it. You have to unroll it. Get it all straight.
Get the long thing, and then you have to be there.
And you hold it. That's passion.
Yeah.
That is what you call passion.
Dedication, you mean?
Yeah.
Remember late night cinema? Back door used to blast open.
Yeah.
Like late night kung fu and stuff, and some of these kids have kung fu slippers at cinema on. You understand? West End was because I swear it's a time where I try to tell my son, what did you say? Anyway, I don't know. With the music thing, I just used to like the hip hop side of it, and I don't know. I started from Touch Magazine.
Okay.
I had a photography company about when I was in my 20s or something, and we used to take pictures of anything, books, record covers, magazines and stuff. And Touch Magazine, Jamie De Cruz or somebody gave us work all the time, and I think we were just young and easy to work with. I think we were just cheap, you understand? But we were making our name doing the photography, and then I got to meet Jamie De Cruz or something like that. Yeah,
I remember.
And I used to just do them times there was a group called like a record label called Conscious Records, Conscious Records, and they used to have a, I don't know, it's the first kind of record vinyl thing I even bought, like, because I was working for them. I'd done some photographs for them. And it just, our photograph things, and I used to meet rappers, like, yeah. You want to go before the Black dates and go into the London, Dolby and Duke the rapper and stuff like that, and all those people in front, they were the London posse because they was all at Covent Garden. So and DJ Business, he was called Spider back then, and he used to have some breakdancing wonders, you know, end the show with some spider legs and wave to the crowd with his feet. It's amazing what he could do with his body back then. But they used to have all dayers. Used to love an all dayer.
Love all days. Love them. How's Ramwood Park? What's the other one in Brixton?
Reckon, that's it. And then even Shepherd's Bush, remember the old days in Shepherd's Bush as well? Scrubs. And Scrubs. Scrubs was a big one. That was a Tim Westwood times. Yeah.
I don't know, and like all days, what else happened on there? The Hippodrome, and then it was actually the clubs, and then like Shaken Finger Pop, all these names, and Raw, Wag, all these things. We started clubbing. I remember when we was at college, we have a club every night, man. We used to go club. There was a club open every night just to dance, you know. And I used to say, you know, I seen some people who were kind of violent and aggressive, but can they dance? Oh my God, he got some. So like, weird radio station about a year ago, just before coronavirus, the first one. Now he said, what I said, we're like rude boys, aren't we? And rude boys give you everything you love. And he said, what's that? And I said, rocksteady, blue beat, star, ragga, jungle, hip hop, speed, garage. Boy will give you what you love. You understand? If it wasn't for a rude boy, your country would be quite boring. You understand? And it will make sense because we gave them everything. They've made money out of us, and what we got to show for it, not one black bank. It started like progressing because I was taking rappers and putting them on like old rare groove beats and like, remember them song like hungry for your love? I'd stick a rap on.
Yeah.
As we were going down the line, when it comes to the first artist we done a show, I had to be a hype man. I can remember the lyrics because I know the songs, we hear them all the time, but to go on stage, I went on stage with Black Twang at a place called Borderline, something like that. I don't know, I just got butterflies. I just like, hey. I must have been a friend, so I started to dance a little, you know, like. was Black Twang who introduced me to Roots Maneuver. So you're going to develop with those guys. They're like some mummy's boys. So you have to man them up. You know, Roots Maneuver was really shy, and he used to call it Smith. And I say, nah, you'll need a better name than that, Baron Smith. But it was a good name, but nah, we got us. And he said Roots Maneuver, and because DJ cut it out like this, Roots Maneuver, it sounded good. So, the hip hop thing in the early age, you know, Duke Booty, he kind of like is a special person because he used to talk Cockney, you know, and we talk Cockney. And there's a thing where you couldn't find your voice. Somebody said, you sound like a white man. You don't sound like a white man. I sound like I'm from England, God damn it. And I went to a boarding school. You understand? So your voice, a lot of my cousins would say, oh, you sound really English. And it used to make you feel a way about it. But I can't see me going, yeah, we got beer with that true sound going on to my yard. You get me safe. It's never going to happen. You understand? So we were trying to find something. Jazzy B allowed me, because I remember we all went down to Africa Centre, but we went down to go and meet some people from East London to have a fight. And Jazzy B said, don't do your washing out here, do it down there. And I realised we can talk like that. You understand? This is how we talk. So remind me of all the stuff, though. Remind me of all the, you know, the Saxon sound. And remember dub, the dub used to be in. So everybody used to have a 1-2 step skank, and that will be the dance until the music changed down the scene. Can you remember when Loose Ends and that came in? Everybody was wearing brooches. You know? the fashion and the music was the biggest thing I ever felt in London. The fashion, music, you could find yourself, you know, and Jack and them helped us to find myself. I was telling somebody else so that I had one of them Pasadena quiffs when I was at college, you understand?
That's a soul voice.
When my kids see it, they can't believe it. They say a black James Dean. I was like, yeah, I'm a black James Dean, man. Like our pal said, gangster rap just came in and ruined the whole thing. So there was a record label called Go for the Juggler with a woman called Sonia Poulton. Sonia Poulton, on Good Morning, arguing with the other one. What's the toffee nose girl? British. So people who call their kids like Island and they have arguments. She's the one who put black boys on the map because she had a record company. And because I was driving them up and down, we went Nottingham, all these places. They were getting gigs. You understand? So with the last gig we did with them was at Hammersmith Palais. You understand? Like the Hammersmith Palais, and you know, got the photos. Whatever happened to Hammersmith Palais? I swear I drive past there trying to look through the door now. It's like Hammersmith Palais used to be here. But
I know, it's quite sad. They're all gone.
They used to be the raves weekenders and everything there. The solo dayers.
Yeah. I don't know, all day is now be nothing but fight now, the way these kids go. But you know, there was some good times. What's that tune that I always have to play at least at Christmas? Can you feel it? By
Original concept, comeback bass.
Yeah, right. You play that tune round by Dolby and see what he does. Jesus Lord.
That is a tune and a half.
Dolby. Pure tea, Dolby, pure tea. You like that one, innit?
Doing artist development for Roots Maneuver, I had said to Roots Maneuver for black people, you know, you don't have to do it so rugged, you know. Just sound like your dad. All your dad ever does is just tell us off. So tell some people off with the rap music, you know. And he said, "Oh, so who are we doing this for then? We're doing this for Smellies, Crusties, and Grungies. We need to get paid. Black people go to the black market. They don't want to spend £8, £12. They want to spend £2. You understand? And that's how it was. You know, that's why you got mad the market, because you can get something a bit cheaper there. But that was bootlegging. We've always had a vibration around us. Like, I don't know, my dad is a Gregory Isaac man. Night nurse. I grew up with it in the head. It's never gonna go. It's gonna be a trigger song, isn't it? So
when you say you do artist development, for those who don't know what that necessarily entails or what that means, what does artist development mean? You take them a raw artist, or you think somebody who's got potential, and then you develop them?
You make a friend because you got to tell them whether they're good or not. Or say, do you know what? Don't give up. The ears won't let you down. You know if that's good or not. But some people get better and mature like wine. Some people you might have to tell them about, where have you been? You know, what are you fighting for? What do you like? You know, you have to bring them out their shell a bit, because vocabulary is like words are great, but if you know how to use them and what they're used for, you know, somebody can.
So you like the bridge then? But you like the bridge then with the record companies then? So you find the artists, you develop them, do you keep them within your company, or then do you then broach that with the record company?
Sometimes, because I find that most times the record company ain't ready for the new slang. They're not ready for new slang. You know, you can. For me, it's like you got to be a bit different. You gotta say something about your area, or you got to say something about your country, or you got to say something. If you're rapping in America, in American, I don't want you. I don't need you. I'm never gonna make you. If you're gonna rap in British and English, I'm gonna make money, and I know money when it comes down to music. But you've got to be talking about your country. You know,
just really telling the story of the way you're living, really. Keeping it how you are, keeping it real.
No, when somebody said to me the other day, how do you do that? And I say, well, you got to find words about Britain and what you think Britain is. Like, for me, it'll be insane Britain, vanity claim Britain, Nothing can change Britain because Britain will stay Britain. And there's something about these Brits, the new race, the old hat money. A birthplace of a gentleman. He's not a gentleman, he's just gentified. A politician will say, how do you do? And swear blind he can change your life. You eat as much as you can and get a gastric band. The NHS will save your life. They're sucking on spam. But Mr. Minister, need a plan. I heard them talking about their trades embargoes. You see the chicken shops? They need to bar those. Tax the rich less as they slap the poor and left the festation to fester on your door. But who do you blame for the poison in the street? The media, the radio, the food we eat, psychological war, psychological warfare. For us, all the poison that people give us, you have to make sense out of it. So I put it in your head. You ain't really going to give me, you got to try and make me happy. You know, even if you want to cuss me in the tune because you don't like what I'm saying, give me something that will make me, you know, rude kind of thing. You've got to have one of those in the glove in case you got a heckler. You see what I'm saying? So
You shut them down.
yeah, so
They're one of the Jameses.
Who are you laughing at, James? Is that something you're familiar with?
you've got two people.
He's right.
Conscious people and rude people, you've got to cater for them because they will fold their arms up and watch you like this. Or not even
Pressure.
That's all about the intimidation, isn't it? Stand up there, put your arms and look and say, yeah.
Let me just cross over to Jan. How did you start as well, Jan?
Yeah, like I was saying before, it was basically started. I went to a boarding school as well. It was like
boarding school massive. Anyone
yeah,
else?
it was like a GLC. You remember the GLC, of course.
Yeah. And you was naughty at school. They would send some people to boarding school.
Well, do you know what? It was a little bit like that. It was a kind of mix of a lot of different people there, but everyone was from London, mostly working class kids. Basically at that school, and we didn't come home every weekend, mate. We came home every 6 weeks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's a proper boarding school.
So it was proper like that.
So you and Dougie had things in common because he was in a Melody. Sorry, he was in boarding school as well. Really.
We like to keep it undercover because people think we went to public schools. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right. Well, some people do take
That's
it
the
like
same
they
thing.
I went to boarding school. And you'll be thinking,
I went to boarding school, you know. So anyway, in Ipswich, and we used to go into Ipswich. They had like a little Caribbean club there. Like we weren't allowed to go, but we used to go on Saturday nights. And we all used to make up our little rhymes and blah 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 and whatever. And like people used to just encourage me, so no, you can chat, you know, do it. So I started off doing that there. So I kind of got confident because it was like a little community club and whatever. And I was 14, whatever at the time. It was like a novelty and blah, blah, blah. But still, at the same time, I was actually quite good. So, yeah, it just developed from there. It's just like, from that, I went to Holland Park School, like I was saying. And then I knew a lot of people from the Grove, also that I went to school with, and their older brothers and whatever, and blah, blah, blah. And then at Holland Park School specifically, like I was saying, there were like the 2 years above me, was Kurt and Sasha Bolin and all these guys from Crew, which Nutriment was part of that thing. Dizzy Heights was part of that whole thing. So that's how I kind of moved with that kind of older crowd. And I was going to like my man was saying, I was every night there were 3 things going on at that time. There was house parties. So you would know, there was like, you would have a list, you'd have like a piece of paper with addresses on it. Plus you'd know that the WAG Club had such and such a DJ at such and such a time. And then you'd go from there where they were playing soul music down in Old Street or somewhere in a basement down there. Then you'd be going to a Shabeen at 5 a.m. Like I swear, I was like every night, Sundays included. So
yeah, them hardback raving them days.
Yeah, and also, never mind the hip hop thing or whatever, like the whole music scene was just buzzing at that time. It was like, it was quite an optimistic time. No, it was like, it just felt, not even the people who were famous, I'm talking about just in terms of, there wasn't a lot of black music or street music that was successful in Britain, like British born, but there was a feeling like it could happen. Like that's how I felt at that time. It's like there's like a change coming.
Yeah.
Sadly, it didn't turn out exactly how, but you know what I mean. It's still whatever. But yeah, it was that. So I knew a lot of musicians that weren't even in the hip hop scene, and was like involved in little projects and this and that. So it just started like that, and then the actual 11:59 thing that started like in 1988, 89, and we did a couple of singles, but that was kind of weird because we had a little deal and there was a producer involved, and that got a bit confusing, and it didn't quite come out how we wanted, but it was all good. And then then we hooked up with NSO, and we were signed to the same label as Cash Crew, with like a subsidiary of Virgin called Scream Records. And yeah, we were slow though, man. We used to do like an EP every like 4 months or something. It was like, but we eventually we left Scream, and Daniel X, who was my partner in 11:59, he set up a record. Like we set up, but he did 95% of the graft. Let's be honest about it. Called Ticking Time Records, and we had.
I remember them.
Yeah. Well, NSO were on Ticking Time Records. Anonymous from Mozart Estate were on Ticking Time Records. There was quite a few, and then we were going to have a deal with China Records, who was a subsidiary of who was it? I can't remember who. I don't remember. And yeah, we were stable mates with like More Chiba and all these people and whatever. And we toured a lot. It was all good, but that's how I got into it. It was just through school. And then just people I knew. It was a thing. It was for the love of it. In those times, yeah, there was a thing like I want to do this, like as a job, as a thing. But it was more about just making it. It was more about making what we were doing, and saying something and pushing boundaries. It was like always trying to push an envelope, and you know what I mean. It's like, yeah, that's how I got there.
I mean, it's funny because I was talking to Rashid earlier, and we were laughing about, he was naming some crews that were in New York, and even here in London, and some of the names I was unfamiliar with, but it's the common denominator between everybody is always Drew.
Yeah. Listen, I actually watched the other podcast. And if he's watching this one, I just want to say to Drew, whatever you're eating, like I need to know, because he looks the same like he did last time I saw him 25 years ago.
And he's still cheeky and chappy as he was.
He's like identical. It's like
Drew is Drew.
Yeah, mischievous, but also very, very, very passionate, which is
one of the most talented people I know. Like raw talent, just like he did it. He didn't do it for any other reason than, you know what I mean?
Yeah, pure love for it.
Having fun having fun and the love of it.
Yeah.
So Dolby, so we're, we know that you started quite young. So you had the love of it, and you went to America. And then you came back to the UK. When did you decide to yourself, I want to be a breakdancer? Or when did you notice that you had something that was, going to get you, that you could be so talented to be that confident and go out there and, just challenge people?
I'd like to say to Drew, I smoked you, Drew. Yeah, you tried to interrupt me very rudely. When I was getting my award at the Hip Hop Honors Award. But you wanted it, I gave it to you, and you broke your ankle bone, and you was broke and had to be carried off the stage. Drew, don't test the boy fresh. Anyway, answer your question.
How long were you holding that? Lee, how long were you holding that one?
Nah, I've been burning on that one, man. You already got an award. Foundations crew already got their award. I'm collecting my award for London All Stars. Man wants to come out and giving it. What's his corner, Drew? Go for yours. He's gone for his. I've gone for mine. He's tried again. He's tried a head spin and landed on his ankle bone. Any breaker that knows breaking, when you hit that ankle bone, that is a hurters. He couldn't carry on after that. Then he started cussing the DJ on a mad one. Drew, chill out, man. Yeah. Also, I remember Drew from Covent Garden. I remember when I first saw him down Covent Garden, I could tell he looked like he was American. Yeah, so I went up to him like, yeah, you American, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, yeah, man, I just got back from LA, man, yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, what do you do then? You break, you do? He goes, no, man, I don't break, I pop. And he actually did pop, and it was actually quite good. But you weren't a breaker then, and I don't remember him then. Maybe he was doing your thing in West London, fam. But come out to the big bad city, come up to West One, come up to the Cobbles and let's have it. Yeah, come to Electric Ballroom, come to Lyceum, come to Kisses.
I can tell you missed it, D. I can tell you missed it.
But Drew, you know it's all love, bruv, but you disrespected then, fam. That was not called for. Yeah, have to respect the original B-boy London Town. All right,
like
to answer your question.
Whoa, the finger's coming out.
Now you got that off your chest that you've been holding in for such a long time.
No, I've not
please tell
really
us?
been holding it. It's all right to me. You get these things now and again. It's an everyday thing for the Dolby, the heat. You get me? But now that you're bringing up Drew, Sir Drew, back in the beat bar. Sir Drew gets one more time. Sir Drew, listen. Nutriment and crew had it going on back in the days. They were the first warehouse mans and rigging up the sound system all over the place. You get me? They put out the first British hip hop classic, London Bridge is Falling Down. And Drew's verse on it, to me, was the dopest verse. He sounded dope. I was like a fanboy. I see Nutriment the other day at West End. I was like a fanboy. Do you get me? I didn't know Nutriment and that back then. Obviously, I know what they're doing, but I didn't know him. I knew South London Breakers. I used to break with South London Breakers. These are day dot mans. South London Breakers and Sidewalk were almost like the same crew, but not the same crew. They went on tour with Nutriment to Germany and all that. That's where they got the Kappas from. Kappa weren't over here then. That's how come I was busting the Kappa, because they had some gear that they sold me. Do you get me?
That's a light Kappa.
That's foundation days. But with regards to the breaking, like I said, I was always, for instance, from the time I was a youth, because I'm going to bring this in with Skool. I come from the West Indies. I was born in Trinidad. Came here.
Big up to the TNT. I'm happy.
Don't get excited. Listen, you two. Listen, you two, don't get too excited now, because the original from
Grenada. Go on, rub it in. we know. But we're the Trinis.
Grenadians.
We got the fire.
You get your term. But right now it's the Trini Rebels.
Yeah.
I said it because it's 2 on 1.
So, coming from Trinidad to England, London, the capital of England, when I was 6, obviously that's culture shock. And then straight you're in school with the accent and everything, people taking the piss out of your accent, blah, blah, blah. You go through primary school and stuff. I wasn't into big dancing, but you dance here and there. Do you know what I'm saying? When the movie Grease came out, everyone was trying to do the Teddy Boy and Grease Lightning. Yeah? A little bit of fun, blah, blah, blah. Later on, the disco dancing championships and stuff used to be filmed, come on every year around them times. And you do your little thing, blah, blah, blah. You get Saturday Night Fever come out. Yo, I wanted to be Vinnie Barbarino, yo. You get me? You see, like that. But it wasn't a thing. But also at the time now, as you said, the culture of music for black children then, you was either, to me, a soul man or a reggae man.
Yeah.
Soul head or reggae man, yeah? Reggae dominated London, England then, Jamaica, the Caribbean, the black world then of England, yeah? There's no two ways about that. The sound systems were everywhere. I grew up in the same area as Saxon, yeah? But there was also other little sounds there as well, which from people from my school was in a sound. I'm gonna big them up, but you won't know them. Cyrus Sound System, blah, blah, blah. They were South East London.
So you Forest Gate?
I come from Brockley, / Lewisham, / Deptford. Those are my areas. My schools was in Deptford. The school I went to in Deptford was called South East London Boys, the secondary school. The year that I left, like say I was 16, it closed down. It was one of the, I think it was the, if not one of the blackest schools in England at the time. So you can imagine what that was like, yeah? Even being light-skinned used to catch heat. You see what I'm saying? I won't get too into that, but so you got the reggae man, but now this hip-hop thing is coming in, and I've just come back from America sort of thing, and I'm into this thing. And I'm finding other kids that are now into it as well. So now we've got the reggae man versus the hip-hop mans. So we'd have little battles, and as I said, I wasn't into breaking. I didn't know what breaking was. I'd never seen breaking at first. I'd seen popping and I'd seen locking, but I'd not seen breaking. So I used to pop a bit and I used to lock a bit, but I'd only just started. I wasn't good enough. I just wanted to do it, yeah. But I wanted to rap, and I was into the rapping. And we used to have battles with the reggae men, and the reggae men used to cuss the hip hop team. And we didn't really used to cuss the reggae. I didn't really. The rest of them did, but I didn't. I appreciate it and understand it, because that's who I mainly hung out with, the reggae men. And that's where I learned to skank a bit. Not that I was any type of skanker, or I thought I was any type of Jamaican. Do you know what I mean? I'm just down with these guys.
You know what I mean?
You know what I mean? I'm just down with these guys.
Yeah.
So we'd have battles, and the battles would be a man from the reggae man going as big a bass as he can, and they'd be chatting. And then our rap battles would be, there used to be this Indian guy actually, and he could drum really wicked. He used to drum on the table and using all his fingertips and palms of his hands, make some wicked beats, and he used to drum on the wall, and I'd kick a rap and stuff, and we'd have little battles and stuff and whatnot. So the music and that was already going. And I'd hear about these places. I'd hear, I'm like 12, 13 and stuff, yeah? But one guy who was in my same year, he had older brothers that used to go to these clubs, and he was a guy, he was already 6 foot back then, and he looked older. So he'd been to clubs as well. But obviously, I kind of even looked younger than I was then. So it's like, no two ways about that. I'm not
That was
going
like
nowhere.
me. Even when I was 18, old enough, they wouldn't let me in, and I had to bring ID because I was always get troubled. So I really hate.
It happened one magical day. Like I said, I call myself the Mercadon. Yeah? Yes, it's a joke and whatnot, and it's just a funny little thing for me. But really, I'm the Mercadon. I murk dons. It all happened one day when I murked a don. So anyway, it's the summer holiday. It's 1983. I've been practicing this breaking thing by myself in my bedroom because no one else wanted to do this mad thing and roll around the floor. Definitely want to be rolling around the floor in front of girl. Yeah? Let alone you're just starting this thing. You ain't good. You've just seen the Rocksteady crew with Buffalo Gal's video. That's what set it off for everyone in the UK. Maybe someone was doing it a little before that, whatever. I don't know. They've been to America. But really, it's the Buffalo Gal's video. Malcolm McLaren and the Supreme Team, that's what really kicked it off. And the Rocksteady crew in it. There's all the moves in there, all the basic moves, backspins, footwork, windmills, top rock, all of that's in there, style, all that. So I caught it on Top of the Pops on video. And now I'm just watching that religiously every day, several times a day, and I'm just banging myself up on the floor trying to learn this. No one else wants to do this thing with me. At that time, I used to hang around Deptford, and something happened where I used to hang around where it was a bit of a racist thing, and something got into an altercation with some white boys, and basically they were looking to kill me. And I couldn't actually go down there no more, so I had to stay in Brooklyn on the low. So now I've seen this on video. All I'm in my house is just practicing this thing. So I'm practicing. I used to say to my friends, they used to come to see me sometimes, okay, look at this. Like the Rocksteady crew, Buffalo Gals. Okay, now look at me. What did it look like, yeah? And I'd be like, nah, it doesn't look like that. But okay, I keep holiday 1983. Yeah, I've been practicing for maybe like 6 months, 8 months or whatever. I didn't think I was good enough. I'm just trying to do the thing, do you know what I mean? But I'm already into Kung Fu films. I already know Kung Fu films. I've had that since Trinidad. I never used to go late night and stuff, but I knew my Kung Fu films, and there used to be Kung Fu things shown in my local area by someone who had all the videos and everything, yeah? So that whole Kung Fu mentality, my style is better than yours, and you've got to prove it in a fight, I know that. I know what that is. I know I'm used to that. Do you get me? That's how it goes. And at the end of the day, everyone's doing different styles. You got your monkey style. Do you get me? You got your praying mantis. Yeah, you got your Buddha. Yeah. And it's whose style is best, but style is style.
Again? Or series? Is it Kung Fu Magic? No, the name of the...
Snake in Monkey Shadow, you're talking about.
You're not talking about Monkey Magic, are you?
Monkey Magic!
Oh, you're talking about Monkey Magic!
What's his name? The piggy. What's the big one? I remember what it was called.
Mom,
Yeah.
Pigsy.
Pigsy.
Monkey,
Yeah,
yeah,
I love that.
Yeah.
Remember the white beard?
I was more water margin. I still love the water margin.
Water margin, all
Yeah,
of them
that's the
good
one.
stuff, yeah? But
Yeah,
funny
yeah,
enough
sorry.
that you mentioned that, yeah? When I started breaking, I wanted to, it was name and blah, blah, blah. And also at that age, I think at those ages, you're kind of like becoming the man you're going to be. You're getting into the music that you like and you're getting to choose the clothes you wear and so on and so forth, yeah? I used 3 different people that I modeled kind of how I wanted to be sort of with breaking. One of them was Monkey. I liked his cheekiness. I liked the fact that he had certain powers and he didn't care whether you're a big demon or not, he's still gonna have you. Yeah, I love Monkey. He was also funny and light-hearted. I liked Tony Montana as well, Scarface. At that time, seeing that movie, I talked to another breaker. His name is Halleck from Live to Break Crew, yeah? And one of my names is Dolby Montana. He said to me, why are you Dolby Montana? Yeah? Montana is every boy's passage to manhood. I was like, whoa! But I got it because obviously that film at the time had that big effect on boys for that time. I get it. But I said to
Not
him,
even just boys, because us girls used
Even
to
us,
practicing.
girls,
My
yeah,
name
yeah.
is Tony Montana. Your woman is so
Right.
polluted. You
there's so many lines and lessons
can't even
from
have a
that
baby,
film.
man.
One of the things, he wasn't scared of nothing. I tried not to be scared of anything. Yeah, a battle. I was scared of a battle. I see enough man proper when it comes to the battle. They're proper shook. Like, it's just dancing, bruv. Chill. The Kung Fu film that I think you should go watch if you haven't seen it, and certain people may have seen it already. It's called The Prodigal Son. And that's all I'm going to say from there. I was kind of thrust into greatness, and I felt that I was worthy, or I could hold my own once I was thrust there. So now it's summer holidays. It's like Southeast London. He's got all his older brothers there. They're like 18, 19, 20, early 20s and stuff. There's loads of them. They used to roller skate and everything, like a big loads of them, like maybe like 10, 12, 15 of them
Oh,
sometimes.
roller skating, that keeps coming up, yeah.
Yeah, but just keep hanging out. I used to roller skate as well and that, but nothing too big or whatever, but I had skates. So they're going to this club, yeah? You should come. I'm like, come, I'd never get in there. Do you know what I'm saying? They're like, no, just come or whatever. So I'm like, you know what? I'll come anyway because I've never been up West End. Yeah. So anyway, I'll just come anyway, but I don't expect to get in. I'm like, just near enough turning 14, but I probably look 12. Do you know what I mean? So I'll come up to the club. Here's the thing. We've gone to Electric Ballroom. There's about 15 man there. Tried to get in and tried to get me in. At the door, there's George Powell's on the door. Yeah, do you remember George Powell from Electric Ballroom? He's the one that used to play the odd hour of hip hop amongst all the soul, yeah, and the funk. It's 1 hour of hip hop, which is mainly electro. To me, it was like, electro's cool and whatnot, and it's cool, but I really like that rap stuff. I really want to hear Treacherous 3. I really want to hear Jekyll and Hyde. I really want to hear, do you know what I'm saying? That kind of stuff. But he's gone, hey, he's not coming in. He's too young. Nah. They was like, nah. It's like, well, we ain't coming in then. This is where the brotherhood stood. George Powell comes out and he's seen them mans and he's gone, look, I'm gonna let him in, but if he comes in, he can't drink. If he drinks, yeah, we're gonna kick him out. And obviously I didn't drink then. I didn't do none of that wild stuff then or smoke or nothing. But it was like, oh, I'm in the club. It's the Electric Ballroom that I've heard so much about. I'm mingling, going around, whatever. I've gone to look at the jazz room, which was like a proper sweatbox. And this jazz thing was like that proper underground British dance. It was almost like the equivalent of breaking, let's say, yeah? And I've watched the battle in there, and it was proper mad, and I'm like, wow, these are really great dancers. I'm watching people, they're really great dancers. So my friend, they kind of knew I did this breaking thing, and they're like, are you gonna do it? You're gonna do it? And I'm like, nah, I don't know if I'm gonna do it, man. I don't know if I'm gonna roll around the floor in front of gal. So I'm like, if someone does it, I'll do it. If someone does it, I'll do it, but I'm not just gonna do it like that, yeah? So anyway, that hour of electro comes on now. The whole demographics of the dance floor has changed. Now the robots have come out. Hey, the white gloves and the glasses have come out, and everyone's roboted. Right?
Michael Jackson.
Yeah, little circles will start popping off. You sort of gravitate to the biggest circle. As I've gravitated to the biggest circle now, there's a battle going on, and it's between this guy who was known to be a good body popper and that then, called Diamond-Headed Dennis. I found out these things after, but I didn't know nothing then. And it's him battling some other guy. And first they're popping and whatnot, no breaking, and they're popping, and they were good to me. Yeah, everyone was better than me in terms of popping and all that, and soul dancing and jazz dancing and all that. To me, I was just really all about the breaking. So in the battle now, they've gone back, they've gone forth, they've gone back, and then someone went down, yeah? And he's done some breaking, but it was proper whack, right? I'm Diamond-Headed Dennis. The other guy, which was better than his thing, he's got shook, like, and he didn't know what to do himself. So there's like a bit of a standstill, like no one knows what to do. So then I've just run in there like, yeah, have some of that, have some of that. Hey, ah, like that, yeah? So now they're like, everyone's like shocked, like what just happened? So then he's come out again and done something. Then I've run him up again like, yeah, have some of that. You ain't got nothing for me, yeah? Right? So now I've come out and I've stood out. Now everyone's rushing the circle so much to see what's going on because of the commotion that they push me out the circle. And I'm like, yo, what did it look like? What did it look like? He was like, yeah, it looked just like Buffalo Girls. I was like, yes. So now the music has changed again, and George Power's on again with the electro. He gets on the mic and he goes, will the person who was doing the breakdancing come out and do it again for us? The crowd has gone, ah! I'm sitting there, and at that time, because it's like 10, 12 of us, we got like one big table, and it's all of us like that, like some proper Don business, yeah? And I'm just a little one there like that, right? Give him money. He's gone, yeah, we'll give you £5 if you come out and do it again for us. This is 1983. As I've reached the dance floor now, they've gone, here he is, like that. So they've gone up to the stage now. The stage, there was no room to do it on the stage because it's just full of speakers and this and that. I've gone up the stairs, the little stairs to the stage, and I've seen George Powell, yeah? The rest of the mans are just kind of there. They're not kind of with me, but they're there, yeah? And there's loads of them, yeah? Right? So, and then the rest of the mans are gone, you said 50, yeah? He's dug in his pocket again, and he's gone, all I got is 45. Would you do it for us? And I'm like, yeah, I will. So people around me like this, I'm like, you got to move back so I can do what I'm doing. Like, just move back. Created a circle, and I started breaking for what I had. I didn't really have that much then, I don't think, but I guess for the time, and to see someone actually do it live, I know that feeling. So I guess that was a big thing, to see someone do it live and stuff. Sweating profusely, yeah? And there was this really beautiful girl, whatever, she's right next to me, and I'd seen her in the club there, thinking, wow, she's really beautiful. Some older girl and whatnot. And she's gone, oh, do it again, just one more time for us. And I was like, okay then. And I've gone in and I've done it. And I've got to also say this, Diamond-Headed Dennis did come in one point like that to give me a little rest, yeah? So I could kind of get my breath and do it again and whatnot. I think they're all going to me, what's your name? I'm going, I'm Dolby D, yeah? Right? They're like, what's your real name, yeah? And I'm like, it's Dolby D, yeah? So there, I'm Dolby D. So now we've gone back to the big table, we're all sitting there. People are coming up to us, yeah? And they wanted to buy me drinks, and they're dropping me like, they're like, what do you want? A rum and coke, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, I don't drink. And I get the nudge from my man's like, no, take it. The boy, I'm like, yeah, cool, rum and coke, blah, blah, blah. I'm giving it to my man's, yeah? I just want a coke, yeah? Just watching like people pop and stuff. and I see like one popper and I think he's really good. So I go up to him, I'm like, oh, you're really good, blah, blah, blah. He's gone, no, you're really good. And I'm like, oh, thank you, or whatever. He goes like, you know, what's your name or whatever? I'm like, I'm Dolby D. Yeah? Right? It's like, okay, right? So he goes, let me introduce you to some people. And he's introduced me to these people who were Sidewalk crew. And he's introduced me to all of them. He introduced me to Michael Forsyth, DJ Richie Rich. You know him as DJ Richie Rich now. He was just Richie Rich then. Blah, blah, blah. He's introduced me to Cher, the girl in our crew. And he's introduced me to Cher. And they were going to me like, what's your name? And I'm like, I'm Dolby D. And she goes, you're David Brown. I'm off, yeah? And I'm like, what? How the hell has my cover been blown on my first mission?
Listen, you don't know women.
No, but
Yeah, we always make sure we tell the truth.
Here's the thing.
Thank you, down.
We'll extract it from you and find out, man. 007
No. Here's
woman.
the thing. We actually went to primary school together and everything. They're like, we dance and we make money from dancing. Yeah, why don't you come with us tomorrow? Because I think this was a Friday, or I don't know, Friday or Saturday. I think it might have been a Friday, because I think Friday was Electric, Saturday was Lyceum, and then Sunday was Kisses. But anyway, so now next day, I'm down. I've met them, and they lived in the same area as me, like Lewisham, and we've gone on the train and we've gone up to Covent Garden. And then they were doing shows already. They'd been doing it. So now I've joined in doing it. And even me looking at the cobbles was like, I can't break on that. And it's like, well, you got it. This is all it is, sort of thing. So then I just started doing shows with Sidewalk at the Garden. And Ozzy's crew was already there. Duke was there. There wasn't too many people. It wasn't that busy then. Micron crew was there as well.
Were there any women around at that time? Because I don't remember. Because all I remember when we used to go up there with Melody and Rashid and Ola. Well, no, Ola wasn't there then. There was very, very, very few women. Very.
There were. I found there was quite a few, not necessarily involved in whatever the guys were doing, but we would come down there with our crew. We would watch the guys doing their breakdance. Yeah.
There wasn't too many women involved in it.
But you were watching.
But there were women. There were women hanging around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, from Sidewalk, she was involved, and she was in our crew as such, and popping. There was some breakers a bit later on now from my area. I forgot what they called themselves. Donna and some of the other girls. I forgot what they called themselves. Actually breaking on the floor, let alone popping. Oh yeah, I remember Abigail. Abigail joined Zulu Rockers later, and I met her earlier on in Covent. Who else? Marion later on.
That was in London, right? Because you had, what about Hanifa?
Well, Hanifa, we didn't know about her till a bit later on. But obviously, knowing her history, she was obviously on it from then. And I say I'm the B-boy of London Town. Hanifa kind of borrowed my little title there, but it's only right in terms of she says she's the original B-girl of the UK. And she was, in terms of out there doing it and doing it well.
Yeah. And let me just bring in James for a minute. Let's bring in James and a couple others. So James, how did you find, when you came in as well, from education, and how was it that you got involved in the intimacy of hip hop in that sense?
I have to give the props to my older brother Edmund, because I'm a realist, I'm a truthist. I wouldn't have had that kind of, you put the key in the car, that turn, it comes from my brother Edmund. He came home with that Yellow Magic tune by, it's called...
You know what, you can just read my mind, because I was going to ask when he was talking, I was going to say, does anybody remember the tune Yellow Magic?
Yeah. Myra Cherry stole it.
I got that vinyl,
Yeah, I went and bought that. That was about 1979 or 1980, I believe. That was a trigger point, and I think around that time, my brother. I mean, I was a youth, you're a kid, and I'm listening to most probably Madness or radios, Kill the Radio Stars. It was pop music. My dad used to like a bit of reggae. My mum liked reggae, calypso, sugar boom, sugar boom, sugar boom, sugar boom, and and then there was disco.
Darling, you get that sugar.
Summer song. Yeah, when it was kung fu fighting.
Yeah.
I love music as a youth. I did love music as a youth. And I think Shalimar Jeffrey Daniels. And people give Michael Jackson a lot of the credit for moonwalking and red. I hear that. But Jeffrey Daniels was the first person I saw do it on Top of the Pops. And that was around Rapper's Delight time, Jeffrey Daniels. So soon after those two, I think Dolby mentioned it, around 82, 83, it was all electro really, craft work. Houdini, UTFO, they were the first kind of rap groups that I was like following, apart from Curtis Blow and I think Super Rapping. Super Rapping was what made me want to be a rapper. That's Grandmaster Flash and that whole crew, you know, that was very early 80s, late 70s. So that is where it all started for me. I was a good boy at school. Me and my brothers, we went to school, come home, music. But around the age of 12, 13, there was a youth club, not a youth club, a centre called the Cockpit Theatre. And it was a stage school. They did all types of things in there. And they got this thing called the Roland drum machine. And now I got fascinated with making beats at the age of like 13, 14. And the Roland drum machine was one that started me off, and I was finished school, go in there, make beats. Because I wasn't a raver, like Dolby and them guys would try and go Electric Ballroom or Lyceum and all that. I was too young. My big brother Edmund wouldn't take me along anyway. So I had to find something else to replace all of that, innit? I used to hear about all these stories of this guy called Dolby and all these guys at Bolton-Gordan, you know what I mean? I used to hear all of it. Trust me, so everything he's saying there is 100%. But I was just creating beats, and I realized that I used to listen to all these Mantronics hadn't come out yet, but they were like Jazzy J, a lot of the stuff, the people that like Dolby was calling out, Spoonie G and all these quirky raps that were new, Roxanne Shante, there was two of them, one in New York, one in West Coast. There was a lot of rap education I took at a young teenage, and that was all before like 82, 83. So by 83, 84, we were vocaling and recording, writing lyrics. You know what I mean? From 1, 2, 4, we had the easy as can be. Riding our bikes in the nursery. When we reached 5, it was silly, we were kids. There wasn't no bad boy talk or none of that shit that people lies or lies. You was rapping rubbish at that age, 12, 13, 14. You know, I saw this girl, her name is Candy, the Randy, whatever. It's true.
I remember I was called Sweet Charlie back then.
So remind everyone where your area, where you grew up.
I was from Edger Road, Listen Green, Marleyborough.
Oh, you did say earlier on. Yeah.
I grew up around that area, and I don't know, hand on my heart, I'm a truthist. That whole area has been pushed into the back of UK hip hop history by a lot of the top people at the top. And I'm not going to mention our names tonight, but yeah, people just bypass the whole of West, Northwest, the early days, and we're an important nucleus to UK hip hop.
Nah, Ladbroke Grove, Laylo, you mans were big then.
Yes,
you had crew.
Laylo.
Yeah, do you get me?
Dolby, you would know that. Dolby, you would know that. Dolby, you would know that because you're part of that original foundation that saw it with your eyes. But not a lot of people see it, Dolby. A lot of people never see it, and it just goes. You got people right now as we talk. We got people right now doing novels and podcasts on the history of Ratata, and they came way after Dolby. You understand? I ain't gonna lie to you that I do understand that back then those allegiances, south, east, northwest, or whatever it is. I've never been that cat that's into all of that stuff. I represent London, UK, full stop. I represent the art, and art is not something that no one can judge. Art is an open forum for anyone to express however they feel. So I never fell into the whole, however you found it, didn't matter to me. Whether you sounded American, Yorkshire, Ipswich, Cambridgeshire, it didn't matter, German, whatever, because I'm really into the ingenuity and craft, and we learn hip hop.
And the unity in it, the whole unity thing about it.
Yeah, but we have to be real and know that we learn hip hop from what the Americans were giving us. We can't try it. I believe that there was the Chas and Dave, who were very rappy, kind of like rabbit. Yeah, they Chas and Dave, they were hard.
Adamant did bust a rap too.
Who?
The man.
Yeah.
I used to like Adam back in the days. Prince Charming.
Yeah.
Yeah, Adam Man, yeah, all of that. Even Madness.
I saw him once.
And
You understand?
it's
So fascinating with the music within itself, because back then, from 1980, it sounded a certain way, but by 83, it had developed into more. So between 1980 and 83 is my person. I was 10 years old. I was going to be 13, 14, and then we cut our first song in 1984. It was with a guy called Brian O'Connor. We had done, by 1984, we had done 50, 60 little shows and PAs, little community centres, little park events around Kilburn, factory,
Yeah, do you remember Granville?
Yeah.
Granville.
Yeah. By 84, 85, me,
Chris Knapp.
Paolo,
Chris
Chris
Knapp.
Knapp, we were seasoned rappers, and we, instead of focusing, I mean, obviously, we got through the body popping and the breaking, freeze frame, loose joints, Max, State of Art, Drew was another guy we used to freak on the dance floors and do our thing with the lock-in. I used to be called Jerky J. I was into jerking thing and all of that. You know what I'm saying? The body popping was big, but the music for us, which was rare, there weren't many. Labrador Grove was one of the few areas that had people working on Gian Carlos and the boys. And there weren't many more. There was not many more. If you think there's a whole lot of people else out there were people trying to do it, but the people that were actually getting tracks done or...
It's like the Known to Be Down with Positive Beat, Simba and them. Known to Be Down with Kimber, because he created the Positive Beat label where I had the track Johnny D and Drew, Melody, Chi Rockers were on there. And that whole album, the Known to Be Down. But Positive Beat was like an independent label, wasn't it? For Grove.
I mean,
I've still got the vinyl for that.
Yeah, so have I. Yeah.
I mean, we was part of that era of time when between that whole 82 to 83, 84 time, I was scanning the scene so much. I began to realize that the name you give yourself was important. I mean, me and Paul, the two rappers, we weren't together at first. Edmund, Paul, and Osborne, they were called Rapaholics. And then me, Ian, and DJ Morph, we was called Wild Block 3. And yeah, we were just all going cockpit, making beats and tapes and all of that stuff, cutting, splicing. And one day, I looked at my two brothers and I was at home. I'll never forget this. I must have been 13. I was watching He-Man. And He-Man and Skeletor.
He-Man and She-Ra.
Yeah.
It's He-Man and Skeletor. They were battling and fighting. I was engrossed eating Monster Munch or something. You know what I mean? Right, being now. And then He-Man must have mashed up Skeletor and goes, I have the power.
It's funny how all these rappers were characters in
Skeletor. After He-Man goes, I have the power. Skeletor goes, yes, but I'm the Lord of Darkness. So I thought, Power Lords. That's how I got the name together through He-Man. Yeah, there was nothing, no big story behind it. I was watching the cartoon. And then we go forward it. So the Powerlords, they looked at me, they goes, how you get that name? I told them how I get it, and they were on it. You know what I'm saying? So that was it. It was through our name, Powerlords, and we just went through and done whatever we had to do. But as I said, I put my hand on my heart. And I'm glad that you lot do this show today, and it's in a flex where we can all chat for real and everybody's express how they feel, and it's cool. But I've watched a hell of documentaries. And I do believe there's a lot of artists out there credible and, you know what I mean, properly certified and bona fide, without a doubt, you understand? But there's a lot of lies as well. And until that gets all sorted out properly, there's always going to be some kind of tension in the golden era vibes, and it will always be there unless everybody come clean and chat the real talk.
Well, you know what? It's funny you say that, because that's another thing for us. You know, you got the pitfalls, you got the challenges of being in an industry. We kind of touched on that. We were asking people, you know, how they felt about it and how they dealt with that. Because when I say pitfalls, usually I mean working within the industry. You know, you have some other elements where, you know, working amongst yourselves, you know, as in different groups. You know, you're going to have your disagreements. You're going to have your you know, your highs and lows. What's your favorite era? What's your favorite period that you?
The timeline.
I think for me, hit about 84, 85. I think Simba touched on Sonia Bolton was somebody that helped out a lot of the artists out on road, and he's right. But I remember Sonia Bolton at the beginning of her career. Her first interview that she did for Hip Hop Connection or wherever it was with us lot, the Powerlords. And around that time, I think vinyl and bluebirds and hip hop was picking up. Public Enemy had just bust. You understand? Hip hop was vibrant. It was a positive message. So that was the time that I really enjoyed hip hop. 85, 86, going onwards to the 90s was a real vibrant time. Who said that every week there was somewhere to part? I think Gian Carlos. Yeah, every week we was performing somewhere, and we were youths just coming out of secondary school, going into college. CJ Carlos and somebody else were doing hip hop competitions up in East London, Hackney, London Rhyme Syndicate, Kill, J Blast, Uncle Be Nice, Caveman, loads of people. Double Trouble, Double D. Them guys are around. A lot of people, as you said, lay low, and going up to South London as well. The Hijack boys, man, wow. Hijack, come on, Vinny boys, big
Demon boys.
Man. Yeah, Demon boys were cool as well, And back then there was competition, but it wasn't a street or a gang thing. It was creative competition.
It was fun. It was fun.
Because I remember the time when NSO were putting out their stuff to use on TV, the videos and all of that. First and foremost, I was just so happy that our the man from the hood was even coming on, because West London, we never had a South London Choice FM or a North London Kiss FM to really help push the West London rappers. We had to rely on Westwoods or anybody, bringing. We never had radio stations. We had pirate stations.
The only one who used to really push, though, really, for West London back then was 279, isn't it, really? Not 279, sorry. Chris Nat. Nat and them. He was proper tried to push the West Sides.
He did, because he saw a niche market where we never had, like, the station side. We used to have Cookie Crew and Hijacks, and London posses were backed heavily by Westwood.
Yeah, South London was backed heavily
and North London with the syndicate. Backing. So what we did was said, okay, cool. I said, boys, from about 1984, 85, we're never, ever going to go on stage and say, play the tape, play the that, never again. I said, for now, we go studio, we make our tunes, and we cut it on dub plate, and that's how we walk on stage with our music in the power of our hands. Because it was. I calculated that the English audience would see Public Enemy, NWA, Master Ace, no matter who it was in America, a video or they hear their tune mastered off airwaves. So how are we going to compete with that when we get our little hard to do youth centers or that club with a mashup system, and we're trying to perform and compete on that same level? It wasn't going to work. So I explained this to my brothers. I said, later, let's get that fully mastered, recorded vibe on vinyl. So when we go and say, here come the Powerlords, while the artist before us was, play the tape. My name is MCABC, play the tape. And it was just so weak. So we turned the tables around that way. And that is where I believe that we stood at. Chris Nat saw that we was getting a big crowd, the Power Pack. The Power Pack was probably one of the biggest crews I've ever seen. Leex, you're totally connected with that as well, and many others. And for the last 4, 5, 6 years, I've seen some heavy duty documentaries on UK hip hop, and not once they mentioned none of them people, not MCDs, not the Powerlords, not nothing. So what we say is, it don't matter. It don't matter. Let them talk their talk.
This is what we're saying.
Jamila, I said, let them talk their talk, because them same people, when I see them and I look them in their face, they can't look at me in my eyes, because they know. I'll call names if I wanted to, but it's not worth it. They know who they are.
But you know what, James? And I know Jamila will agree with this, probably say the same thing. She probably was even going to say what I'm going to say. For us, this is why because we don't just cover hip hop, obviously, we do various topics, education, and other areas. We do everything, right? But with regards to the hip hop, one thing I've always said, because for me as well, I didn't just stick with the Grove people, because I worked with people outside in the South as well, obviously, like with Sparky and D to the K with Textile and all them. So I kind of worked with every different area going about, even down to Manchester, Captain Verse, doing stuff, blah, blah. With Bristol, you know, hanging out, growing up.
You charted regular, Yinka.
Bunch of them, just
You
going around
charted
everywhere.
regular.
So for me, we saw that it seemed like it's segregated. And I know there's a lot of people when they come together, because as people were saying, it was never a South or a North or East or West London thing. It was everybody come together and everyone would unite in the same place. No one had this thing about what area you came from. But I do get sometimes, I suppose some people, they will call their own people. So they might just tell it. But if you've got a big platform, I think it is important that if you're on a big platform, be fair when you're discussing about different things. Don't just maybe take it one way. And with our little platform, we've just like, we decided that it would be good to bring everyone together from all different sides, even down to Joe Bloggs, who never got the chance to be highly profiled, but they got talent. And you may remember them from going to park jams, or someone in the area that you know that could hold that mic and tear people down, but then they never have got their name out there. So for us, it's important to get every type of person, even someone who's just a contributor who you knew might have been a DJ or someone in the area that was significant, just for contributing. And that's our thing about bringing highly profile people who came from, you know, they didn't get out there, but they were very creative and they were significant.
And they also had an influence. I mean,
and the younger generation. Because you can watch a man that walked down the road, you know, that you remember who done something or acted in a certain way, but we all have that memory of certain people from the areas that you grew up in. And to me, they're significant because they're memories and they're your culture, and this is how we grow. So I get what you're saying, and I'm sure Jamila will elaborate.
I think, but also for me,
we don't want to fall into the same trap of following wrong history. We as a people and as a culture, we've been buffooned already from the 50s and 60s when people changed history up in order to move forward. Let's not be another generation of that. You understand? Let's not be another generation of that.
But the other thing, sorry to cut you, but the other motivation for us to do this, just following on what Link is saying, is you know, my son doesn't know melody now, and his family, he didn't even know he rapped.
Look at that.
That's what I'm saying. So this is it's so apparent. I mean, we can listen to drill, we can have an opinion on drill, we can have an opinion on all of the later ones. Even the hip hop artists, like, you know, some of the ones who crossed over, Nina Cherry and who are, you know, not deemed that they're more commercial, you know, commercialized.
Commercial is cool. Commercial is cool.
No, I'm not saying it's bad or good. I'm just saying that.
And some people can't. But you know what? Even though just quickly, just while you're talking that commercial thing, it's funny people will say that certain people are commercial, but you know what? Nina Cherry and them people were doing things before that, but which people don't even know about, because when we were talking about Donald D and stuff, and they were saying that they were working with Nina Cherry way before she came out into those markets, but people wipe that history as well, and they just say, oh, because someone's commercial, then that's it, it's all over for you. Grassroots.
Go on.
Stereo MCs. Look how much work he put in before we got to where we got.
Yeah, but it's not when you involve yourself with a record company, the name of the game, and I know this at an early age. You see Jamiroquai, he used to be in Elaborate Grove selling a £5 draw before he got famous. You see his manager, that's Femi, his brother. What's he called? I know well. I've seen him for years. Tunji. Yeah. So you got to understand, these are normal people like yourselves, and normal people. But the thing about creativity and if what you try to tell people to do is practice and rehearse. My man was just saying he'd done about 50 shows that young. You're like an old machine if you've done 4 or 5 shows. They're going to use you to do everything, you understand? So he was promoting our culture. But like he said, no one mentions their name. But he's the one who's got to find someone like me who says, what? Where? Like Cash Crew and all of that. None of them doing what we do, meaning they need to use their app. There's a thing called Blurb. I've wrote 2 books on that now, and it takes about 2 hours a day if you've got everything on your hard drive. You understand? 2 hours to come and tell me about your crew. And you know what? I still give it to Cole and someone else who's a film script writer who can get a film out of that. He wants that information, but it's people like him who's not picking up his pen, and letting us know your story. I could give you a story. just 2 years ago, I've got Black Twang. I put him in Idris Elba's studio. And I don't mean to call Idris Elba's name. Idris Elba's the only one who's got a studio in Camden. That's like, I want to try it out. He's a millionaire. His equipment must be good. Besides, he's got this kid in there, his cousin called Ash. And Ash gave me the studio. So I said, you know what? I'm going to put Black Twang in there and see what he can do, because Black Twang done a tune, said, they keep calling me. They were non-stop calling me, but they don't now because I don't have a hit out. And I like it because I like my ear lying to me. So I said, I'm going to record it at Idris's studio. And, you know, it'd be something to film because we're at Idris's studio. And it'll be something to make documentary about, blah, blah, blah. And then I've got an agent, and the agent said to me, I've got Ty MC here, for his management here. What can we do for him, G? And I said, well, I've got Black Twang here. We might as well put on some shows because it's a no-brainer. People want shows. Old hip-hoppers want to have a laugh. They want a night out. So you know, he had drawn Rodney P into it. So so Ty gone and invite Rodney P. Next thing you know, the agents phoned me up. He said, Rodney P's mugging me off on the WhatsApp group, G. I was saying, what do you mean he's mugging you off on the WhatsApp group? He said, Rodney P calling me a boy and I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm the agent who's just got him 50 grand's worth of work. I said, hold on, we'll have a meeting. We'll have a chat and see what goes on. So there's always somebody who's backbiting somebody, and he get brought in by an idea that the agent still phoned me up about. That I said, I've got Black here. So it's a thing, like if I tell my story and tell the story, I'm like people phone me up, a top gangster phoned me up and said, you know what, take that thing you put up on Facebook down of Rodney P. And I said, nah, I'm not taking it down. He's gone, gee, do it for me because us black people. I said, you used to beat people up for fun at the weekend. What am I going to take that down for? It's all right for, I said, how come you're taking Rodney P's side and not my side and you kick it with my brother? He gave me a text that it made me take it down. You understand? Bare love in that text. I said, you know what? I'll give Rodney P a blind. But it's that behavior, yeah, how you just came and mugged off the man that give you all the work, got you all this stuff, yeah, and you come and mug us off. That's like, it's really upsetting that we might backbite each other in a sense of like that, or we might be, you know, you don't understand what I did. So I held a meeting in Brixton, Ty, Rodney P and Black Twang, and we talked about and we had it out. Rodney P said, well, what's this got to do with you, Simba, anyway, this whole thing? I said, I'm just the one who's put it on, bro. Like, really, you know, you've been invited in. Like, I had to tell him, I'm a rude boy, really, you know, Rodney. Before I'm a pretty boy in this music limbo, you know. I mean, just, you know, wheel it in a little bit because you're drawing me out. And like, I thought that was English enough for you to understand that you're annoying me. You've just been invited into this project, and you're the type of guy to come and take it from under our feet, and he did. So when I'm talking about, you know what, I don't know. That's why some people have managers and management. Rodney P manages himself. But, you know, it's the truth is the truth. And that's the funny thing. Like I'm saying, I just want to tell the truth.
This is a platform where, sorry to cut you, Sims, that we're just saying, look, you know, warts and all, you know, this is, we're a big people now. We haven't got, it's not like we're 25 or 19. Where you're going to take a grudge and you're going to go and you're going to say this and do it. Well, you know, we've matured, right? So you can, you know, we're expressing experiences. And what's interesting is that, you know, I was just thinking, who flashed through my mind a little while ago is, you know, on the ladies thing, which is something slightly different to what you're saying. You got, you know, Miss Dynamite, and you've got others that come along at some time after, but they wouldn't have been. They are beneficiaries of you all. Do you understand? So each generation, and the record companies know this, and what we have to do going forward is to ensure that, you know, we have this kind of collective.
It's not. What you need to do, and what we need to do, is something that always gets done. You understand? I'll tell you that Miss Dynamite had, like, I'd done a thing when Dennis Rhodes said to me, she had 4 hit tunes, one of the biggest artists in England, but she's gonna get sidetracked for being a, you know, she said one sentence, she said, racism is swept under the carpet in England, and then they dropped her. So it's because you can't, you know, they've got their behaviour. But one thing what we've got, like if you was to do, remember this TV show that came on called Soul Solid? Soul Solid, every Friday you come on and you see people all at dance and spin round on their spin and just wet the place up with wet. You understand this? You understand? So we need one of those. You need to do something.
I remember that show, bro.
They don't have to bring a space or anything. You just bring back the word, the tube or something.
Yeah.
Bring it back. You know, Nomsky made that hit for us. We love Nomsky for that show. Just like we love Richard Blackwood for his show.
The man. He filmed NSO's videos. I mean, there's a lot that he got involved in back in the day, and I think he
even
utilized
the photography side of all the archives.
Yeah, he done everybody's, didn't he? But with Nomsky, you see, if I work for the
what happened to him? We have to bring him back.
He's still around. He was in one of my videos.
You know, we have a problem when we make money to then reinvest it back into the community that brought you to the point of you can make the money.
I don't think we have a problem. I don't think we have a problem. The units are different in money. I'm doing shows for Roots Maneuver. Yeah, I get calls saying, "Can Rodney's got an 80 grand tax bill, Simba, and if he doesn't pay it, he'll be going to jail." If he doesn't pay any money of this money. So I've got to say, I can raise 80 grand. I'll tell you how I raise 80 grand. Pick up the phone and phone the agent. I've got Roots Maneuver on the books. What can you do? They can't wait to get him on to Belgium, Germany, Russia. Do you know what I'm going to say to Russia? I'm going to say, I said, get as much money as you can out of Russia. Guess what Russia's willing to pay for a black British artist?
50 grand, 100 grand.
30 to 40 grand.
You see it
30 to 40 grand for an hour's work. You understand?
Yeah.
And it's not rocket science to me. I made £250,000 and only on wages. So I organised that business. I made £250,000 and I'm only on like 10 grand or 20 grand for the whole year's work. Talent is going to that one house. Whatever you call this show tonight, or what you call your show.
The next generation of the Mangrove brand.
That's the name you call it. Just like it was called Soul Solid, just like it was called The Tube, just like it was called The Word, just like it was called. Because you know, the thing about growing up in a society where you're gonna be society's product. You understand? Like I was doing the bop, you know, what Dolby was talking about. I was doing the bop, and my dad came down and says, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm doing the bop, Dad. I'm doing the bop. Everybody's doing it." He said, "I idiot." I came downstairs and I see my son busting some move. And I'm saying, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" He said, "I'm busting shapes, Dad. I'm busting shapes." So it's just a fucking similar what goes on in the background. The moral of my sentence there was like, wow, if you've got photographs and you've got that information and much words that you used tonight, there's a book there. The minimum photocopy is going to be $8.99. You can always take it a bit bigger for $20.99 of making the actual photocopy. You understand? The actual blurb. As soon as you tap it, it says "Get started." Get started. Me, I'm on my second book.
Simba, I tell you, I don't know. Yinka Jamila, even Dolby. I've known Dolby for a very, very long time on a creative kind of basis. I see him. I've got so much respect for him. So I know he's allegedly good. On a real tip. The last 3-4 years, he busts out his music side. You know, I didn't know that Dolby could rap. You see where I'm coming from?
All right, and I gave him a phone number because my phone book is wicked. My phone book is brilliant. And he's had this relationship with the artwork man ever since, and they've just made magic. That's how that vinyl and Dolby was rapping and how we get to hear his stuff. And he's done things with other artists like Blade and Mello and stuff like that. And I heard the argument they had as well. So something leads to something. You understand? And
when I was trying to do the thing, I was never on the rap scene like that. Yeah, I did my thing here and there, but I was never on the rap scene. I never came out when it was all going off in the 90s. Yeah. So when I was doing my thing, I was looking for studios and blah, 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 and just some information and knowledge. Your name just kept coming up. People are like, you know Simba. I don't know Simba. Who's Simba? Then I remember, that's Simba from Covent. That street urchin from Covent. One of them blockers from Covent, we didn't really hang out or nothing then, bro. But I know you was one of the mans. You understand what I'm saying? And when I checked you, you was all love. It was all love and respect. You know what I'm saying? And you hooked me up, and everything was everything. But like you said, your Rolodex is a treasure trove. Yeah, and you make things happen. You can make things happen. And one of the things I always say to you, Simba, is you can make things happen really easy like that, but you need to follow it through sometimes. Sometimes you act too much of a middleman, and you should take control and follow it all the way. And that's how you get something firm, and certain other things won't happen. And I think that happens a lot within the scene in terms of the following through all the way. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, it's funny you say that, because we're saying the same thing to do with the podcast. We're saying exactly the same thing. If we're getting everybody together, it's not just that we sit down and have a chat. I mean, that is wonderful. The reunion and seeing everybody is wonderful. But our passion is, you know, we've got, obviously because of our children as well, you know, they're at the ages now that they're 17, 18. We're seeing a lot of, we're identifying from the grassroots level what's going on with our children, what's wrong in the community, what's wrong in the industry. And it's the same old, you know.
That's everything of how I found my feet in this music limbo. It's through help. The reason why I know Black Twang is because I helped him out. The reason I've got Black Twang exactly the same. He helped Beverly Knight. So when she was doing "We're the Flavor of the Old School," and Black Twang is the one who gave her the music. The Black Twang makes beats ridiculously, and you know, but he wants to keep the best beats he's made for himself, like normal people. But I think the same thing with Estelle. You understand? Like Estelle used to come around us. She just gave her CD to one thing, because she writes verses for white boy rappers in the pop world. So she'll write them a verse. You understand? And it'll be a good cold verse that she's wrote enough people a verse, so she can be with movers and shakers. And so she gave her CD to John Legend. She just praising. I gave my CD to Lenny Henry. He loves music. You understand? At the same time, with me, I grew up in the acting world. So my father's like Linford Hudson from the London Palladium, just a black man who's working behind the scenes. So I'm going to get to meet a lot of people. So the story's going to be like more and more people. So I'm growing up with, you know, this kid who played Gus from EastEnders. He's a short little black boy who's a wicked
I remember him.
Dancer.
Yeah, I remember him.
Wicked tap dancer.
Yeah.
The way how he tap dances is like one of them black and white movies.
For real?
Yeah. So when he came on EastEnders, because him and we know him from being in Oliver Twist at the London Palladium, and you know, people like Michael Jackson came to visit that show. With Oliver Twist now, and knowing him from there, when he got the job on EastEnders, he was still phoning me and coming to check me. You see what I'm saying? So I said, do you know what? In EastEnders, you've got some idiot poster on your wall. You want to put a Roots Maneuver poster on your wall. So you put so that's 16 million viewers and helps the things. And we were doing this
clever marketing.
But you know, it's funny you say that, because it's, you know, if there's one thing that does irritate the hell out of me. And you know, these when you're doing your videos, you know, we showing them the best champagne and the brand of the champagne or the brand of the cognac brandy or whatever. We are free advertising.
Because of you.
Don't put the blame on us, nice. It's not Adam and Eve.
Is your mouth dry?
We made you.
But the blame on us. But the point I'm making is that
we can talk over it on a drink.
But what we need to do is the same thing. Jan, don't forget Jan.
I totally agree with what you're saying. In my video, one of my last videos, 1 in a million, yeah, I order a drink. The drink I order is carrot juice. Yeah? And hold up. And at the end of the video, I stayed the kitchen that I got it from, the shop that I got it from. Okay, that's what I'm talking about, and I totally agree. And I did that.
Give back, you give
back. Yeah, but we have to, Jan. You're Mr. International Traveller, man. Come back to where we at, man, with this conversation there.
Yeah.
This topic.
You know, he's another one. He's another one that has to write the book as well, because what he's talking about, Saxon sound, and he used to do the white boy chatting and stuff. That would have made money off of that.
Even like Dominic. So I got a big shout out to Dominic.
Big shout out.
His sister's my best friend. I remember being in the house with Dominic in their house when I was young, seeing all Billy Boyo, Little John, Barrett and Levy all coming in the house, and you're just like looking at them and thinking, and he'd be on the road with them, and you know.
Funniest thing, I didn't know Dominic till I was like 20, 21, but when I was like 17, I went to Jamaica for like 9 months, and I was staying in like near Negril, like a place called like near Lucy, Green Island. It was whatever. It was in the hills, really. So like the family I was staying with were like family of friends of mine, and they had a little sound. So we used to go around, and it was like a kind of novelty thing in a way, especially back in those days. And I used to hear people saying things like, "Oh yeah, he's like Dominic." I was like, Dominic, what's Dominic? You know what I mean? Not knowing that he was from Ladbroke Grove. I didn't
say Dominic, we say Dominic Favour.
Yeah, exactly. Who say, what was it? Dominic Favour Boy George or whatever. Yeah. And yeah, so that was a whole story in itself, like that thing. And then I came back to London and I met him, and he was like, yeah. No, he was like with all the biggest artists.
Yeah. He used to Admiral Brady, everyone. Peter was like that.
That's right. Yeah.
Just like it was.
So yeah, no, but I think it's right in the sense that even like a documentary style or something, like that's not that hard to get together when you've got a lot of images, and then you can interview people. Yeah, you don't actually have to go filming much to make a documentary like that. It's all about getting the material and then editing.
Yeah,
and then
material. Can I have it like yesterday, please?
You know what I'm saying? If you did like a series of it whereby you don't try and cover everything in 1 hour or 2 hours,
That's right.
You know
what I mean?
That's kind of what we're doing.
You know who'd be good? You know who'd be good to do that? Someone like is it Optimum? Is it Optimum? Oh, what's that documentary? Yinka?
Optic.
Optic. Yeah, Optic would be good, or even Saloon.
Did you just fall down, James?
It's all gone, Pete.
They're dropping bombs, man.
I'm here.
As well, though, Gian, it's like even these little podcasts that we're doing where people are just coming on and telling their little stories. Coming back, telling their little stories is a nice way also of people coming together and documenting, you know, and telling their stories on their more of a grassroots level rather than just, you know, what success you had or who you big names you worked with, because it's always nice hearing when you, especially people are more highly profiled, hearing just the realism about how they grew and what they went through rather than just, oh, I had a big hit and I've done this.
Exactly. Yeah, and all the stories that we're hearing tonight. It's like there's a lot of material there that a lot of people would want. It's an era. It's a whole era of like 15, 20 years that hasn't really been covered at all. I'm not talking again. I'm agreeing with you. It's like it's not really even about these people were doing all this. It's what was going on, like from the root of it. You know what I'm saying? When I'm hearing about man breakdancing on cobbles, yeah, it's like that's a real thing. Yeah, never mind.
That's
but that's also perseverance.
Yeah. Because a lot of people who don't know, didn't grow in the communities or that way of knowing each other. Like I grew up with, you know, Powerlords and them, Ladbroke Grove later. That's my life. Like.
Yeah.
They don't know. They just see you on the big picture, and they see.
So have you heard of Fraggle? Have you heard of Fraggle?
Fraggle. Yeah. He was on our last show.
He was on our show.
Fraggle was the first person I ever see get paid to dance in Covent-Garden. That means they had a hat.
Yeah, it was telling us.
That means they got every hour they got something like £15 or something, yeah? So they'd be working for about 3-4 hours, even if they were just on a different corner with a hat out. Them boys went home with 80 quid and 90 pounds. You understand?
Simba. Before Frags,
yeah.
Covent-Garden, the two biggest crews, was Ozzy's crew and Sidewalk. Sidewalk was the first crew to actually earn a permit to actually go there. Not just anybody and everybody now can do that now. We were the first to get our permit. When I used to go home after a day, fam, I had money in the front pocket, the back pocket. I was walking like I shit my pants. Yeah? It was chink, chink, chink.
Sim, you told me a story earlier
Like
on.
Carol
It was like,
singing.
is it D? It was to do with D, how he could make. He's like Houdini, how he
Oh
could
yeah,
make money
yeah,
out.
yeah. One time, I don't know. He always had a nice haircut, or some wet lips and glisten. But he didn't look too dodgy. But what he had these flyers, these like flyers, and it was like 2 to get into 1, 2 for 1, and to get into a club. And he just used to sell them. And then I see him count his money one time, and he looked like he had a wedge, you know, like one of his hand looked like that with money. And they would.
That just shows how ingenious we are about creating something out of nothing. We've always been that way. And from the time you have that in your DNA, I think we get caught up as we get older in the drama of finance in the family, your home, and all the rest of it.
You see Dolby D and your Dougie. Them man used to be out with us at like 10 o'clock at night and 11 o'clock at night. What parents have their kids out at them time there?
Oh wait, hold on.
Already at home by then.
You've got to be something.
I never used to be out that late. No.
Lies.
Buskers, and you got blockers. Yeah.
I've got lit.
Some people bust
out there.
Some people bust and some people blocked. Some people just blocked. Some people just bust.
There's no way I could be out there that time.
I came out there to break.
You were doing your 9 to 5, Toby. It was the
Why
9 to 5.
was
Your 9 to
Dougie-
5 job.
why
It
was
was
Dougie out
the
there?
night
At
hours.
10:30, Dougie was out there. Dougie was out
So
there.
it's the same thing as when Nighty was saying about his mum. You're talking about the raves then to not run. He would squeeze in with his mum. So you're seeing from a young age. You're watching big people raving. And that was always in our family homes, watching people partying in their homes, especially Trinity.
I was going to say that the house parties.
House party. And it was it was the essence of the house parties with all the friends coming around with your little bar and the drinks and listening to music, watching your big elders dancing. Paying you then. I remember you used to get paid. Your aunties and uncles would tell you, here's 50p dance. And you'd be like, dancing and everything to get your little change in your house, right? So they taught you from young.
But don't forget also, we weren't allowed to go into clubs at those times. So that's why those house parties developed. And culturally, that was the best thing for us. That kept us tight.
Yeah.
Because we watched every character, every person, every move.
Every auntie, every uncle.
See how they
how fly they were. There was always a fly ones.
All those things. You learn how to dress from them. So our young people don't have that outlet because obviously they had the clubs, but those clubs, even though they can get into
they're not creators like, I don't know. Coming from a boarding school, coming home, I've been in Converse since I was like 12 and 13. I never put a pair of ballet shoes on in my life or had a pair of waffles. But these were the clothes that they had in London and like Lois jeans and all these ladies.
I had waffles, man.
Simba. Yeah. You have to remember that. Simba,
remember the white cardigans and the
just like that.
And the Farahs. Yes.
Gabici.
Yeah, Gabici and the Pringle, Lily Scott.
That's right.
It was like our height.
Guess what?
Some people were like, I'm going to London for the day. Yeah. We lived 2 bus stops away from Oxford Street, you understand? So it's like fashion in West London, central West London was feelers. I'm sure Gian Carlos, you can. I'm sure you can second this. When you're living in that area, the latest Cicchini. You said Lily White, Lee Van Lenville tracksuit.
Oh man, we used to go.
I remember Cicchini.
That was my life. That was my clothes and fashion was my life. I was into the Gooses. I was into the Troop. My rest, R.I.P. Freddie, my cousin Yinka. Freddie Brian Troop.
Remember Oz and G? Do you remember Oz and G shop?
Yeah, Oz and G.
OGs. You put up.
You know what? Sorry to cut you, but one time I got a jacket. It was £120. I felt like £1 million jacket on, and I walked into Saxon Sound in Lewisham. It was in the Lewisham Centre, and you see that jacket? Yeah, it made all them guys just. I could step on the stage and not get told to get off. And that's a fact. And I was standing on the stage for ages with my jacket, but it must have thought I was.
It's funny how people wore big jackets and it's boiling hot.
Look
at these big boosters on it. It's boiling hot. It's
when the Timberlands came, and this is up to anybody who wants to answer this. what kind of projects you on? Because obviously COVID came in, it affected quite a lot. So have you turned the negative of COVID, bringing us all in-house and start to look at ourselves? And has it been beneficial to you? Have you been able to turn it around and make it something positive while we're on lockdown?
Everybody, so you got your Trailblazer top. I mean, have you been doing anything?
You asking me?
Project.
Oh, no, sorry.
Cool, 50.
And you go now, quick, while he's having a choke. Quick.
Huh?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I've just got a little studio going on, so I'm doing stuff. I'm doing all kind of different stuff. Like about 7 or 8 years ago, I used to play guitar when I was a little kid. I started when I was like 9 or something, and then when like the electronic music came in, that just wasn't cool. Like acoustic guitar and all that kind of thing just wasn't, you know what I mean? It wasn't the thing to be doing. So I let go of that, and it was only about 7 or 8 years ago, or maybe it's a bit more, that I thought, it's mad, you know, like I used to be able to play like okay, and I just like dissed it, so I picked up that again. So I've been recording like all different kind of music, and I spent like, I've been getting into different kind of formats, all kind of different, just different kinds of music, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I just do stuff here. I don't know if I've got any projects coming out yet. I don't want to talk because talk is talk and whatever.
But you've been keeping yourself active and creative.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
I think Simba Jamila was showing us all the t-shirts and stuff he's going to give us. All those t-shirts, thanks. Yeah, we'll have them. That's all right. We'll promote it for you. We'll wear it on the next show.
There's t-shirts for everybody.
I like it saying.
Right, free t-shirts for everybody on the show from Simba. All right, put the sizes in.
T-shirts.
Right? Okay.
There's all these gold records and that. I picked some up for Ty because in this coronavirus thing.
Ty.
Yeah, in coronavirus thing, Ricky Rankin said to me, how come you lot got a gold record and I haven't got none? Because he works on the Roots Maneuver album. So I phoned up the record label and I said, hi, Pete. He said, hi. He said, I said, how's your lockdown? He says, it's mad, isn't it? And I said, what, like Black Lives Matter? He said, yeah, it's all mad, isn't it? I said, come on, Pete, man. You're CEO of Ninja Tune. I always walk around eggshells around you. He said, you walk around eggshells around me? Why is that? I said, because you're white and you're the CCO of Ninja Tune. We always dub down our reggae music to suit you so you can spy it. He said to me, no, don't walk around eggshells around me. I said, what's it all about? I said, Ricky Rankin says you ain't got a gold record yet. He said, no problem. Just tell me what you want it said on there and I'll send it over. Do I send it to your address or do I send it to his address? And then he texted me back, said, do you want one as well? And I said, yeah, hell yeah. Sometimes if you don't ask, you don't get. And that goes to everybody.
And sometimes you shouldn't judge people as well, because people give you impressions about other people, saying they're this way or they're too up their ass or blah, blah, blah. And then you get to meet the people yourself and you think, that person's safe.
Well, no, everybody, the other thing.
MC Ty died.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd like wanted to give him a tribute as well, but we haven't done it because it's been coronavirus. But there's gold records sitting over there with his name on it, and we want to present it to his sister. But if you make a platform for it, not a problem.
A big shout out to the family of Ty. You heard that from Simba. He's got the record there for you if you watch us. Even we're not a big platform, but you never know.
I'd wait to give it to his sister or a member of his family. Yeah.
Anyone listening to this, please
as a tribute for
family, the family.
It's like it's for his tribute to his British, and your tribute as well, because you know you don't. When I see your video on YouTube, I have to say, look at this, look at that car, B-Reg or something. You understand? Like it shows the reflect of how far we've come and how well we've done. And
thank you.
We don't get no gratitude. You don't get no gratitude. And like he said, you have to write the book. It'll take you 2 hours.
James,
I just want you lot to know that. Yo, we got the 50 UK rap tune coming out. 50 artists.
With Edmonds. He sent me it. Yeah, I'm jumping on it. 8 bars.
Do me a favour, if you got contacts with any of them like Rodney or even Black Twang or Roots Maneuver, you know what? I've always been this way. Them they have been in the scene for years, all right? They deserve to be on a track like that.
Okay.
All right? And this is when I rewind to what I was saying 10 minutes ago. It's not rocket science, is it? It's not rocket science. If someone like Simba can come and say, yeah, whoever you are, the power force, it goes to show you what I'm trying to tell you about. When I'm fully affiliated with Thai, Black Twang, and Brothers. Yeah, Simba don't know Jack. So this is what I'm trying to show you guys. Think back on everything careful. But you know what, Simba? Go to them, man, and tell them that they're welcome, yeah? They must come look for Powerlords and put their email in, then they can be on the track. Yeah.
Everyone listening out there, Powerlords are doing a big track, and it's got, is it 50 MCs? UK
50 MCs, UK
50 MCs, which he's invited all of us to be a part of. I've been invited. I've got 8 bars. I think Dolby, I see that you was on there.
Yo, you know what? He actually did invite me, and I am most honoured, and I would love to. And just to say, closing with regards to answering your question about all this coronavirus and what you've been doing and all that. Well, basically, I've been doing the same thing. See this hip hop thing to me? It's never really been about money or nothing. It's always been about just trying to be good and put it out there. Because basically all I see is I'm entertaining myself and anyone that chooses to watch.
Yeah.
Obviously, music business is different because it costs money to make music and put it out and all that. So that's a bit different. Check me out, yeah? I've got my own website, which is regards to selling my product and selling my merchandise, because I don't believe in all that TuneCore thing and all that rubbish, because it's just a big rip-off.
Yeah, that's what I was telling Jamila.
So you can go there to purchase my stuff, but also you can go to my YouTube channel, which is Click Clack Connection, and there you can see all my videos, you can see all the music, you can see all my breakdancing. Go to cccrecords.co.uk. So that's 3 C's, cccrecords.co.uk. Busting some bars on that tune, you don't know, I'm repping.
Well, you know what it's like, at the end of the day, you know what I think it's about love, you know? Yeah. If you don't, I mean, obviously you can have your first love, which is yourself, you know, everything else, because we've been brutalized a long time ago, before we even got into the hip hop and all the rest of it. Lalo, or the Labrador area, has been a war zone for 60 years.
Even for the time of our family, should I say our family's Mangrove 9. All the way to the 70s. So
that was the first front line of London town.
Yep.
Even before Brixton, that was the first front line. Also, you forget Mastermind is West London as well.
Yeah.
You understand, Mastermind had prime spot under the bridge at Labrador Grove for how many years in a row?
Yeah. A rap attack.
These are the things that we, like you say, and like Simba said, own our own archiving. That's the problem. We own our own material. You go on that link, you know, and that's how it should
what
be.
We're trying to build, anyway, me and Jamila, in that sense as well, that people we have on our show, we then put you on our platform, so we can say, this is Dolby, here's Dolby's links, networking for the younger generation, so that they've got somewhere to go to find people, because we've been speaking to a lot of the younger generation, and people say, oh, they're not in it, but they are in it, because we found a lot of hungry youth that are interested in our archiving of what we did do. Those with hip hop, with anything.
Can you do you think that Labrador Grove is played out for the simple reason there was a youth club on every road?
Yeah.
They put so much money.
Lancaster, talking about Met, all them O2 schools. I remember I grew up in youth clubs, and I think youth clubs kept me going, because I had, if I went to the I remember going to Venture Centre, that would be on certain days. Girls Club, then I go Lancaster Club, you go there, that's certain days.
And don't come back until it gets dark.
Yeah, but the thing is, for us as younger generation, we grew in we had safe places, because you had mentors, because you had youth workers. You had people that you could look up to, or they could try and guide you, or they kept you safe. When they took away all the youth clubs, they took away all the community centres, and then they were talking about why the kids were running around in the streets. Well, you know why? Because you took everything away from them that was protecting them and keeping them safe. So don't ask us why the younger generation run around and they're doing what they're doing out there and running off these trap houses, whatever. You created that divide and conquer. Took away what we had that kept them safe, and now they're just out there trying to find themselves.
But now we've gone through all of those, the rites of passage. I'm not begging nobody for no community centre or for no money, or it's got to be within us to generate these things. No, you don't see the Indians, you don't see the Jews, you don't see the Koreans, you don't see the Chinese begging for all their things. It's all in-house.
Yeah, but it's our culture that gives everybody what they love. You see the Jewish boys. The Jewish boys might dress up in their uniform and twist up their hair, but they listen grime and garage. They know everything that's going on. They're Orthodox Jew, but they're still youth culture. They just don't laugh at each other's trainers.
No, but listen. What we need to understand, we can't be too hard on ourselves. It's not like we haven't done it constantly. We've done it all the time. But all the time, it gets attacked relentlessly. Yeah. Any type of rising, it gets attacked relentlessly. And it's only. And then also when that happens to the big mans, it makes man shook and it makes man like, you know what I'm saying?
You lose a whole generation.
You get tired.
But it gets attacked constantly.
Yeah. And we
relentlessly.
And we
other people don't get attacked like that.
No, but also
it wears people down, doesn't it? Especially men. It wears them down.
We've experienced that. You know, I've experienced my dad, you know, and going
but they had to go through there to fight in.
And the thing is, this is part of our father after those trials, numerous trials that they went through, winning all those trials. The mothers having to keep hold of the queens having to keep. And not even just that, it broke so many relationships. So many of our parents broke down.
You can't blame parents.
And don't have a proper outlet. Let them see that this is what we're doing. So we give them the education, and then we support.
It's Dolby T, and then Dolby had Monkey Magic, or whatever. And Powerlords had, was it not Power Rangers, Power, whatever you got, E-Man and all that you got from. And now the younger ones have got Wakanda. And I know I'm not being sarcastic. I'm just talking about people to look up to as heroes or whatever you saw as a child. So now they have Wakanda. So it's all kind of.
Do you know my hero?
Who?
My hero is Trailblazers Towers. Can you see it up here?
Oh, yeah.
That's my hero.
I remember Isis done a video in one of those
Listen,
flats.
I don't care about nice flats.
Yeah, you coming on our little podcast. I'm not going to downplay it, but we do appreciate it from the heart.
Thank you.
I hope as well that you know, within the hip hop as well, with the north, the south, the east, the west, and there's certain people that don't, feel that they may not have got what the recognition they should have. I hope everybody can put that aside and put egos aside and be able to just come together and say, you know what, people need to come together and start doing stuff because we need to make that change. And if we're going to be segregated, we can't make that change. Do you understand? That's what they want you to do. They want you to be divided.
I don't appreciate it though. I don't appreciate it. I appreciate love it.
There you go. This man's always got some lyric. Anyway, just remember you promised us a t-shirt. So let's not make him forget that.
That's true. That's true.
Free t-shirt for everybody on the show.
Paid.
We get paid. Walkman. Oh yeah, those days of the Walkmans.
I got wooed into it, man. I was like, whoa, but I'm glad I came.
You know what, you done well, and you gave us a good talk, man. You learned a lot from what you had to say, and everybody who gave
I learned a lot from you guys, and you have to do the book, even if you do.
Just want to say a big thank you again to Dolby D. Big thank you to Simba, Trailblazers. Big thank you to Powerlords, James and Edmund and Paul. And don't forget about the track that he's doing with 50 MCs. Big thank you to Gianni, 1159, NSO Force. And Jamila, do you want to say your bye?
Yes, again, thank you all for coming. I mean, sometimes, some people can be a bit hesitant and think there's, an ulterior motive that me and Yinka are just going to take them in a corner somewhere.
So that's all a farce then.
Oh, damn.
Oh, and have I got out too early? But no, on a serious note, thank you, everybody, and everybody coming in and contributing and telling their stories. And I actually see a lot of you in a different light because I really didn't know you in your background. In other words, I didn't even know that certain people were Nigerian, like Olo, and I was like, oh, he's Jamaican. No, he's Nigerian. Oh, get it right. All kind of things. So all kind of mad conversations are now coming up because, you think you know somebody, but, you're just hailing them, respecting them back in the day, but you don't necessarily get into the,
the true story.
The true story. So respect you for that. And thank you again. And much love and peace, your sister.
Okay. Peace and love, everybody. Be safe on the other side. Take care. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Boys in the East End pubs, grab a gal on the wall and scrub her down to the dub, cause all the mans love the fitters. Northside girls in the West End clubs, Southside girls in the East End pubs, grab a man on the wall and scrub him down to the dub, cause all the girls love the gallis. Yeah, they do, you know. They love the Coupe de Ville and the Pimp Palace. The way I pull out a wad and say, hey girl, splash this. And when that's done, I still got the plastic, cause I'm having it large, I'm going on Jurassic. Big like a ranch out in Dallas. I'm running riot in this rap racket. And like a true pimp, I slapped it. Hey girl, it's me and you go. Where? Back at the Pimp Palace where we can catch two joke and buff up chalice and relax on the waves.